Friends and family, we gather here today to honor the life and mourn the loss of a beloved father, brother, uncle, and friend, and Mr. Everett Cox, Jr., also lovingly known as Bunny. I especially want to acknowledge his daughter Katie, his brother Joey, sisters Gwen and Ann, his niece Elizabeth, and great-nephew Johnny. Know that all of us here today in this room stand with you and support you in your grief. Please join us for an opening prayer. O Creator, we open this service acknowledging your presence in our midst. Nothing is hidden from you. You know each and every person who is gathered at this funeral service today, and I commit every person in this room to your care. Let your spirit move in our midst and bring peace. Direct our thoughts unto you. We strive to release all feelings of sorrow, pain, longing, and even doubt. We commit our departed loved one to you. We give him to your care as we also entrust every soul in this room into your capable hands. Amen.
I want to thank everyone here for attending this memorial service for my father. Everyone here, whether in person or watching on the live stream, has played some part of my father's life, whether it be brother, sister, niece, nephew, friend, or in my case, daughter. Everyone here influenced and was influenced by my father. A quote from Godzilla, from Agent Stens: "Gentlemen, you are being sent in via halo jump. Now, I realize that not all of you have had hands-on experience, and frankly, none of us have ever faced such a situation quite like this one before. But I would not be asking any one of you to take this leap if I did not have complete faith in your ability to succeed. Your courage will never be more needed than it is today." This quote, I feel, really speaks to my father's courage to transitioning to the next stage for his soul, for the afterlife, for heaven. This part depends on one's own beliefs. This quote also speaks to the courage of us all for having to accept that this wonderful man is no longer with us, and we have to be okay with that. This quote is extra meaningful as it was also shared at his nephew Rhett's funeral service, with whom he shared a name. My father was only in the hospital and on hospice care for a very brief period of time, but he had been very tired for years. His health issues caused him discomfort and fatigue much more than he let on to anyone. After my mother passed away, I could see that the light in his eyes wasn't as bright as it used to be. He missed her incredibly. So as sad as I am that he's no longer here, I am very relieved that he found the courage to move on to a place where he will never have to experience discomfort or pain again, where he will never feel fatigued, and that he's in a place where he and my mother are reunited, so together again, this time for all eternity. To backtrack, somehow, some way, I was blessed to have Everett Bunny Cox as my father. I could not have asked for anyone better. His love was constant and unwavering. I knew that I always had his support in anything that I did in my life. My dad was my own personal cheerleader, and he influenced literally every part of my being, from my blonde hair and blue eyes to my high level of intelligence, to having a love for a ridiculously large amount of music, to being pretty obsessed with anything Lord of the Rings related, but most importantly, to also show love and support to family and friends. Both of my parents were very social beings and literally had 100 close friends. And if you don't believe me, you can ask my ex-husband when it came to the wedding and sending out invitations. From Virginia to North Carolina to South Carolina, my parents just had this ability that when they met someone, they became friends. And once you are part of the tribe, you are in it for life. For the first 13 years of my own life, my parents and I did not live close to blood-related family, but I saw how my parents treated their friendships with celebrations of many kinds, which may or may not have included quite a bit of beer, wine, and scotch. And I learned that friends can become a special family. Constant and unwavering love and support were always around. And my parents were ecstatic when finally moving to South Carolina, as we could finally physically be close to our relatives and have our family be more intertwined with our day-to-day lives, with seeing each other more frequently and being able to celebrate more time and holidays together. So my point is that family and friends were incredibly important to my parents, and family and friends were crucial and essential to my father after my mother passed away. He would not have made it for as long as he did without the support of every one of you. So again, I thank all of you here. As you are a friend or a family member, you are ultimately part of my parents' tribe, which means you are part of my tribe as well. I would like to conclude my speaking by mentioning Lord of the Rings. The last movie that my father and I watched, which was on Sunday, was Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, which is the extended version, of course. I would like to mention a certain scene from Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, which is the third movie for anyone unfamiliar. And the scene is between Pippin and Gandalf, and they speak of death. Pippin says, "I didn't think it would end this way." And Gandalf responds, "End? No, the journey doesn't end here. Death is just another path, one that we will all must take. The gray rain curtain of this world rolls back, and all turns to silver glass, and then you see it." And Pippin asked, "What? Gandalf, see what?" And Gandalf says, "White shores, and beyond a far green country under a swift sunrise." Pippin says, "Well, that isn't so bad." And Gandalf says, no, it isn't. So, thank you.
And now I will read the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leads me in right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. You anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And now I will read an excerpt from Ecclesiastes, which is particularly appropriate for Everett's funeral because it is also a song by the Byrds. Turn, 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 for everything there is a season. And this is the ancient scripture from which that song comes. For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to throw away stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. Everett Clyde Cox Jr. was born on April 30th, 1949, the first of 4 children. Then came his brother Joey, his older sister Gwen, and then his younger sister Anne. He remained close with them throughout his life, and as someone who sees families at the end of life, I can tell you that that is beautiful and that is rare. So I'm so grateful that you all have had each other in close bonds throughout your life. That is a blessing indeed. Everett's family ties remained close when he met Patricia Patty Anderson in Columbia, South Carolina, the woman who became his wife of 45 years on February 10th, 1973. She passed away in 2018 from colon cancer. Everett is also predeceased by a special nephew of the same name. Katie Cox is their only and very beloved child. The three, father, mother, and daughter, remained closely bonded until the very end when Katie was present at her father's deathbed. Now reunited with Patty, I have no doubt that Patty and Everett, mom and dad, will continue to guide and love and comfort Katie from the other side of eternity. The type of love the three shared cannot be severed by time nor space. As Katie said, Everett was an accomplished and intelligent man. He attended the University of South Carolina and graduated with a master's degree in chemical engineering. And so in my other life, I'm a humanities professor at Clemson University. And what we say about the engineer people, we call them the real smart ones. So I know he had to be an intelligent man to have worked as a chemical engineer for 30 years. Katie described her father as, quote, definitely a nerd with eccentric interest, close quote. Some of those interests included fishing, golfing, Godzilla, as you heard, watching the Masters with his best friend, Ron Stewart, old movies, computers, and, as Katie emphasized, Lord of the Rings. We are in the South, so college football was important to him, especially those South Carolina Gamecocks. And Katie remarked proudly that her father could answer literally any trivia question in the world. So he sounds like he would have been an ultimate trivia night partner, a great asset. Everett and Patty lived in Newport News, Virginia for 11 years before Katie was born, where she said he made 100 friends. And I'm like not even 10% there, so that's impressive. 100 friends in 11 years, 100 really legitimate close friends. Everett was very active in the Jaycees, joining in 1978. He served a term as president in 1984 before leaving the Jaycees in 1985. The Coxes were involved in many social clubs, which led to many of those good friendships. The family moved from Asheville, North Carolina, to Anderson, South Carolina in 1997. When I asked Katie to tell me some of the things that she valued about her father, she recounted his cleverness, his jolly countenance, and his sharp wit. And as she spoke a minute ago and told you all, the emphasis that he put on friendship and developing good friendships. Remember, this man had made 100 close friends in 11 years. This lesson on friendship he instilled in Katie as a child, that friends can be as close as family, bears fruit this very day in her life in Charleston, which is greatly enriched by many, many great friends. Katie, I want to speak directly to you for a moment if I can, one daddy's girl to another. As you mentioned, your father had struggled with his health for a while, and he was tired. Ultimately, though, his passing came quicker than you expected and perhaps had prepared yourself for. No matter how long we have to prepare, we are never, ever really ready to tell our loved ones goodbye. It fundamentally changes us. It changes who we are. It changes how we live. Things will never again be like they were, and we have to learn that really hard lesson of treading water in an ocean of grief. It will be hard. So Katie, have courage. Family, have courage. And know that grief is only ever born of deep, deep, deep abiding love. He lives on in the love that you shared. He lives on in the legacy that you now are all a part of. And all of the life that you have left to live, he will live on. So I want to leave you with this poem. It's by Judah Halevi, a Hebrew poet who lived in the 11th century. The original poem he authored is called "'Tis a Fearful Thing," but I altered it a bit for you to speak to the virtue of courage in the face of grief. 'Tis a brave thing to love what death can touch, a brave thing to love, to hope, to dream, to be, and oh, to lose. A thing for fools, this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me, for your laugh once lifted me. Your word was a gift to me. To remember this brings painful joy. 'Tis a human thing to love, a holy thing to love, what death has touched.
I come to the garden alone, while the dew is still on the roses, and the voice I hear falling on my ear, the Son of God discloses. And he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own, and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. He speaks, and the sound of his voice is so sweet, the birds hush their singing, and the melody that he gave to me within my heart is ringing. And he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own, and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known. I'll stay in the garden with him, though the night around me be falling, and he bids me go through the voice of woe. His voice to me is calling, and he walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own, and the joy we share as we tarry there, none other has ever known.
Now I offer you this benediction. Life is short. We have not long to gladden the hearts of those with whom we journey. Therefore, be swift to love, make haste to be kind, and live your lives in the light of eternity. May you all go in peace.
There are places